Bronny James is the son of LeBron James. Obviously, he's the namesake. And it was reported today that he suffered cardiac arrest yesterday working out at USC with the coaching staff, was revived, and he's out of the ICU. Out of the ICU should mean that he's out of danger. He's not intubated, but we don't really know. There's no true updates. First and foremost is like you just hope he's okay, right? You just hope he's okay. Second thing is, and you knew this was going to happen because if you've been around social media long enough, you did know that somebody prominent was going to go, hey, what about the vaccine? And there's a guy named Mike Finger who writes for the San Antonio Express News. He tweeted out just from Wikipedia, all the athletes who have died from sudden cardiac arrest before the age of 40. And this is, many of them almost all of them predating COVID. And so the idea is that this stuff happens often. Maybe not often, but a lot more than just it's got to be myocarditis, and myocarditis is caused by the vaccine. Like, I don't know why our brains always take us to that leap. It doesn't mean that it's not a possibility, but there are 1,000 possibilities, and let's let them kind of work their way through it with their doctors and figure it out. But there's some nefarious thoughts on the vaccine, and somehow athletes are dropping like flies and whatever when there's all these numbers. I've shared this story before. I had a friend die when I was 12 years old. He was 13. My brother's been a college basketball coach for 28 years. He was at Oregon State with the men. His fourth workout, I believe, ever as a coach there, they had a player go down and the trainer saved him. So it does, in fact, happen. It's scary. And the question becomes, does Bronny James ever play basketball competitively again? And look, we don't know anything about if it was, there's, again, a litany of possibilities. And hoping for hey man, he had too many Celsiuses and it screwed up like the electrodes or whatever with his heart, and that's what happened. I don't know. But I love to play basketball, and I understand that Sharif O'Neal, who had a different sort of heart issue, is, I believe, a thinning wall of an aortic valve. We had a valve replacement, and a valve is one of those, if it goes, there's nothing they can do. They cannot save you. You're done. And he's back playing basketball. But the question becomes, Bronny James has a bright future as a basketball player, but a bright future as a human being. Can you find somebody to clear you? Yeah, but do you want to be the one that clears Bronny James unless you absolutely know nothing else is going to happen? Jay Stu, how would you like to be that doctor who you got to look at, the James family and go like, hey, doc, we need you to make a call on this. Can Bronny be cleared?
Yeah, that's a sketchy proposition, but I'm guessing they're going to ask the best of the best, and they're going to get multiple opinions, and they'll go from there. But no one would want to be in that position. But I guess if you're in that position, you make those decisions every day about non-famous people. Right?
Yes, but and you oftentimes err on the side of caution, right? Because you're worried about the worst possible scenario, and you're worried probably about getting sued as well, right? But that becomes the hardest issue is his, if he becomes a professional athlete, is his contract insurable? Right? Can you insure it? Because if you can't, like now you have the risk of clearing him, and then he's putting his life and career at risk. Not that he needs the money, but it's teams won't employ somebody. I think Eddie Curry's the only guy I can think of on record in the NBA who had an uninsured contract when Isaiah Thomas took him with the Knicks, and that thing didn't work out. But man, that is just scary. We talked after you got the text or after you saw it on social media, and I probably got 15 texts from friends like, is this a real story? Is this a fake story? Like, it's a real story. A real story. I shared with you one story before when the Damar Hamlin happened. I don't know if I shared this one. One of my last years at ESPN, Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio, they opened up a daycare center across the street. And part of the daycare center, they opened up a beautiful, beautiful gymnasium. And I used to play occasionally noon ball. Like it used to be when I was younger, I played a lot more of it at the YMCA. And at the YMCA. But I got invited, hey, it's opening day. Would you come out and play pickup ball with the guys? You walk in, the gym is spectacular. It's NBA length court, brand new rims, brand new floor. Like, you know, when you were a basketball player, you're used to gyms being your sneakers squeaking all the time and being the best of the best. And so getting out of the YMCA to be there was pretty cool. So we're going up and down, and then, you know, a couple guys have to run, and there's two older gentlemen shooting at the other end, and we only need one. And so we're like, hey man, you want to run? The guy's like, no, I can't run with my buddy. He's got time. I gotta go do some work. So this same guy does who does work, and who leaves to do work, and then the other guy comes and he's joining us. And we start going up and down, and he's not moving so good. And when I say moving so good, it's not like he can't run. It's like he's not necessarily running in a straight line or sprinting the court like everybody else is. And then probably on the third trip, boom, down he goes, like face down. And he looks like he honestly looks like one of those, you know, when there's a dead body and there's the outline sketch, like in a TV show, right? And here's his arms. Here's like, that's what it looks like. And Freddie Coleman, who still works over there, Freddie's like, hey man, you okay? You okay? And he was trying to move him. I was like, don't move him. So I run and get the lady at the front. She gets one of those AEDs, automatic, whatever, electronic defibrillator, hooks it up to him, and it tells you exactly what you need to do. Like, breathe in, breathe out, chest compression in 5, 4. Like, it tells you exactly what to do. And the ambulance was there, I think, 4 or 5 minutes later. And he was a security guard at ESPN. They ended up saving his life. And he had 90-some% blockage in what's called the Widowmaker. If he was playing anywhere else in America, he's dead. And if it happened when he's going for a walk, he's dead. And instead, he'd live to tell about it. So there's a bunch that you can unpack about this, but the sports don't really matter. What does really matter is anytime you got a basketball gym, you got people, you need to have one of these AEDs and somebody knows how to use it. And then too, like, I just don't think you can, take life for granted. Here's Bronny James, and it has nothing to do with like what you look like. Obviously, if you're heavy set, you have some health issues, right? There's concern in certain terms of heart stuff and whatever. But I mean, Bronny James, the picture of health. 19 years old, built like a Greek god, and one of his first like open training sessions with USC. And thankfully, it appears he's going to be okay. The only question remains is will he play again? And then there's the trickle down to it. And this is a real thing. Like, do we really think LeBron James wants to play 2 more years? What do you say? Lucky for us, we get to see him play next year. But I mean, it did feel like he was kind of hanging on. Hey man, I just want to play with Bronny. Does that change, or does this change his perspective on wanting to play? I don't know. But we'll keep you updated, and I got my phone on, so for my friends who are in the biz and know what's going on. But he's out of ICU, and that's a really, really, really good thing.